Liger Sports Talk. I'm John Lee.
I'm Tyler Liger.
And today we have a very special edition because you know what time of March it is. It is March Madness time, and we are starting it out. We both have our brackets filled out. You're going to get to hear our insight. But Tyler, let's talk about the upsets last night.
The upset of the night was Harvard. Ivy League Harvard, you know, they're known for their smart kids and whatnot. They upsetted number 3 seed New Mexico. I was really dumb and I put New Mexico in the championship game. I figured out that because here's where I'm going to go on a crazy rant is Steve Alford, the coach of UNM, used to be at Iowa. He couldn't lead us for anything when we were in the tournament. So I lost faith in you, Steve Alford. You watch yourself. Other than that, we had some upsets here and there. That mostly just like Syracuse rolling over Montana, and then VCU trampling like a really shorthanded Akron team. John, the Pac-12's having really good luck with the March Madness. Tell us more about that.
Oregon stomped Oklahoma State, and there's a player on Oklahoma State that's from Amarillo. I can't remember his name, but from PD. He played for PD, and so News Channel 10 was all over it last night. But Oregon stomped Oklahoma State, and then Vegas barely squeaked. Cal barely squeaked by Vegas yesterday, but that's still a pretty good upside. I mean, if you can beat a team like Vegas, you're doing pretty good. But my bracket right now is in at 83%, 120 points. New Mexico losing yesterday is the only team that really screwed me over on my bracket.
Yeah, talking about my brackets or our brackets, you're having a lot better luck than me because for the unsportsmanlike conduct deal, I'm only sitting at like an 11.3%. I mean, come on, because that was New Mexico. Like I put basically all the chips in the middle for New Mexico, so they let me down.
Well, I picked Duke, so I'm good at least.
Yeah, you are good. You're good until the Final Four. But other than that.
Speaking of college sports, Tyler,
yes.
We got the college realignment. Tell us what's going on.
Well, the Big East, the basketball conference that split away from the main conference. The basketball schools got to keep the Big East name, while the football schools, they have to figure out their own name, which is the America 12 so far. They picked up Xavier, Butler, and Creighton. As an former Iowa resident, for Creighton to finally, jump that threshold, that's great for Creighton. Butler is the only non-Catholic school in that league. But then again, there leaves an open door. I mean, Brett McMurphy from ESPN, he's like, well, it's kind of negotiable. Either they're going to expand from 10 to 12. I could see St. Louis and Dayton going. They're both Catholic institutions. They're both really good at basketball. Other than that, Brian Urlacher, he is kind of playing head games with the Chicago Bears. John, fill us in on that.
Wow, we are full of New Mexico things today, huh? Well, we got Brian Urlacher. He is splitting away from the Bears. According to Urlacher, the Bears say that they're saying, "Oh, we want you to stay with us, Brian. We want you to retire a Bear. You've been a Bear your entire career." And Urlacher says, "I think that was a bunch of bull." I mean, to be frank, because they kept saying that, but yet they didn't want to give him a good enough deal to make him want to stay. He's still a really good linebacker. He's not flying across the field like he did back in his younger days, but he's a great leader. He's a great run stopper, definitely. He still has a pick every year, it seems like, so he can definitely lend his services to a good team. Speaking of older players, Ed Reed, where's he going?
He's going to the Houston Texans. They signed him to a 3-year deal. So that's huge. I mean, the Baltimore Ravens lost another star defensive player. But in terms of that, they're wanting to talk to Elvis Dumervil, who had a contract dispute with the Broncos. I know John and I are both shaking our heads on this. But now the Ravens are starting to come into the picture. But John, isn't Dumervil kind of leaning towards the Broncos? Why do you think that?
I think he's leaning towards the Broncos because I just read a report on ESPN today that said that Dumervil has not even scheduled a visit with the Ravens. So the Ravens have offered him a deal, and so have the Broncos. But I think Dumervil is just kind of trying to think, okay, was it a Bronco mishap? Was it my agent? Apparently he definitely thinks it's his agent because he did fire his agent. But, Dumerville's just kind of on the fence about it. I am thinking he's kind of leaning towards the Broncos because when you think about it, the Ravens lost 7 of their players from their team last year. Only one of those guys was on offense.
Yeah.
So they've lost 6 out of their 11 starters on defense.
And that's huge.
Including Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, and Paul Kruger. So those are 3 big names that you don't have on that team. Dumerville and Suggs can't do it by themselves. But speaking of Broncos, I got to go to the Tim Tebow event last night at Hollywood Road. Very inspiring. He made a couple of jokes. One of the things that he talked about was his 95-yard drive against the Jets, and he makes the joke, well, that's my greatest Jets highlight at this point so far. So
a lot better than the butt fumble.
Yeah, a lot better than the butt fumble, and a lot better than just playing special teams for the Jets.
Yes.
So Tim Tebow was a great event last night. If you got to come out and see it, I consider you one of the lucky ones. Unfortunately, we couldn't take pictures, but I am going to still write a story about it on that'll come out in next week's Prairie paper issue. Also, the NBA. Moving on to NBA news. Tyler, I got some breaking news for you.
What's that?
The Heat won again.
John, I have breaking news for you. The Denver Nuggets went to 14 games.
Oh, wow. Okay, so we got 2.
But they won through free throws.
Wow. Well, the Heat...
they don't have LeBron either.
They're up to 24 in their winning streak. Several people are saying they're going to break the Lakers' winning streak. But Chris Bosh and LeBron James made it for 56 of the points, LeBron being 28 and Bosh having 28 points as well. So that's a big win over Milwaukee, especially on the heels of that comeback against the Cavaliers. And then the Nuggets also, they beat Memphis, and their streak is at 14. So Tyler, let's bring it local a little bit. What's going on at WT?
WT, we got baseball and we got softball. Softball, they're still #1 team in Division II. That's amazing, by the way. They're 21-2 overall. They're only, they're 5-1 in conference, but the Lone Star is a pretty tough conference. Luckily for them, this weekend they take on A&M Kingsville, and A&M Kingsville, they're kind of below par. They're kind of a cellar dweller. So, barring any monumental breakdown by the Lady Buffs, the Javelinas, it's going to be smooth sailing for the Lady Buffs. Just easier than said and done. For WT, though, they're going to have a little bit more of an issue. They face leaguing Tarleton State in double headers today and tomorrow. So if you're around on campus this weekend, go and see these games. I mean, they're free for us to go in and enjoy. So please support the Buffs and the Lady Buffs. That's going to be a tough series for the guys. John, what else is on tap? I mean, I can talk about the Amarillo Venom if you like me to.
Well, yeah, definitely talk about the Venom. You're talking about us getting into those WT games for free.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Show your student ID. You get to go into a WT or Amarillo Venom game this weekend. Tyler?
For $5. Brought to you by Plato's Closet, so thank them. They're facing the New Mexico Stars at 7:05 Saturday night, so you can watch your double headers, and then you can roll to the Civic Center and catch the Venom for $5. I mean, that's as much as a foot-long sandwich, so that's not too bad. There will be a championship banner raising. Coach Reese, he's bringing back almost the same crew that they're bringing in, that they brought in last year and they won a championship with. Other than that, you can stay tuned to us and you can stay tuned to the Prairie for free Venom tickets. So if you don't want to spend the $5, there's always free tickets around. So stay tuned to us. We'll keep you updated. John, what to watch for this weekend and next week?
Basically, tune to TNT, True TV, CBS. I think ESPN might have a couple. Basically, any show that has any sort of sports related to it, go ahead and tune into it because there's going to be a March Madness game. March Madness is probably one of the more fun things. We were watching the Marquette game during the Prairie meeting. My mate actually a little mad. Sorry, Ashley. But we were watching the game as Marquette won. Then, like Tyler was talking about, Amarillo Venom. Unfortunately, it's not going to be broadcast on a TV network yet, but you can still go check them out. And then we got NASCAR in California this weekend. Being a Jimmy Johnson fan, I'm always up for him. Now, if you want to follow us on Twitter, I'm at JCL1987.
And I'm at Tyler Liger 87.
But that's all for today's show. Stay classy, WT.